Now I will proceed with indirect taxes because this is an important one. Now, as far as indirect taxes goes, indirect taxes have two types of indirect taxes that you want to deal with. One is called the specific tax, and the other one I'll deal with in just a moment. Specific tax is a per unit tax. For example, rupees 20 per unit. So for every quantity, the price just increased by 20, or for every quantity, the cost went up by 20 rupees because the government wants 20 rupees. So the way the diagram is going to look for this is how you make it. Okay, so let's suppose for the first unit the price was 10 rupees. For the second unit the price was 20 rupees. For the third unit the price per unit was 30. This was producers' willingness and ability to supply the good at these given prices. Now, when 20 rupees tax has been imposed, what really happens is that the producer says, okay, for the first unit, I was willing and able to sell it for 10. Now, since the government wants 20 rupees on it, I will just simply push my prices up by 20 rupees. Now I'm willing to sell the same first unit for 30. Okay, I've just added the tax. For the second unit, I was willing and able to sell it for 20 rupees, but since the government wants 20 rupees on it, I will, since my cost just went up by 20, I will charge 40 rupees for it. In case for the third unit, I will charge 50 for it. So basically, this helps me derive a new supply curve after indirect taxes. It's shifting to the left or it's shifting upwards. Dono baat same hai. The thing is, what you need to know is that the vertical distance between the two supply curves, the $20, 20 rupees in this case, is the tax rate, because that's how much the producers increased the prices by. Now, we don't know what the equilibrium price is right now. We're just saying, because uske liye to we need the demand curve. As far as the producer goes, he takes this 20 rupees ka specific tax into account and he just shifts his supply curve upwards. And in case of a specific tax, you get a parallel shift upwards because it's a per unit tax, and this is how the tax rate will be included. Okay, so this is the specific tax that we want to talk about. The second one that we have is called an ad valorem tax, and this one's a percentage based tax. Okay, let's say instead of 20 rupees, the government is saying we want 20% tax on the price or the value of the good. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, the first unit, I'll change the good this time and I'll say, for simplicity purpose, the product's price was 100 rupees. First unit, I was willing and able to sell for 100. Okay, and X unit over here, let's say the 500th unit. Okay, it's not marked to the label, I just want to show you an idea over here, is let's say 1,000 rupees. Okay, for the 500th unit, I was willing and able to charge 500 for it. So how would I show the tax implication over here? Since it's a tax is in 20% on the price, The first unit which I was willing and able to sell for 100, since I have to pay 20% tax on it, 100 ka 20% is 20 rupees. So what I'll do is I'm going to shift my supply curve upwards by the 20 rupees. Okay, because vertical distance is supposed to show the tax rate. So this vertical distance is showing me the tax rate. But the 500th unit which I was willing and able to sell for 1000, उसपे 20% is 200 rupees. Now 200 rupees, obviously if this is 20 rupees, the 200's vertical distance is gonna be up much more bigger. Okay, and when I make my supply curve, this is how it goes. Because as the prices are rising, the tax rate on lower price is less. The tax rate on higher price, because of the percentage, it's going to be a bigger value. It's going to be what? The price is going to be 1200. So a percentage based tax causes a divergent shift. Okay, so this is how we show the two taxes. An ad valorem, which is a percentage based tax, causes a divergent shift. The reason why is the higher the price, the greater the tax amount, and this vertical distance measures the tax amount. In this one it remains the same. All right, so that's just one of the ideas which you have to take care of in case of if the MCQs come. If we have seen MCQs in a percentage based tax, how the shift is supposed to be, and we have seen in case studies sometimes when they're talking about a good, and there's not been many case studies in which they've actually asked, but they have asked back in the day in one of the case studies. They mentioned that the tax was ad valorem, and when in the diagram they asked you to make the effect of the tax, they did not mention in the question that it was an ad valorem tax. They just said the tax ka effect dikhao, and 1 mark in the diagram was reserved that if the kid has taken the divergent shift into account. Okay,